Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm so pleased to be joined by production designer Jennifer Dehghan, whose latest project is the Apple TV Plus series, Loot, season 2 of which you can watch right now on Apple TV Plus. Jennifer, I know you worked so much on season 1, obviously, as well. So coming into season 2, I guess what was your big goals for the season and kind of like how you wanted to evolve the look of the show?
I think the main goal for the season was to show Molly's evolution, however big or small we think it might be. The concept was that, she's taken some control over her life in season 1. She's come out of this kind of traumatic divorce and almost like reawakened as herself. And she's still trying to suss out who she is and her place in the world. But at the end of season 1, she pledges to give all her money away. So we open with season 2, which I think is pretty funny, in what is like it's not as mega mansion-ish as the first one, but it's still pretty rare and spectacular. To her, she's kind of awakening and on this spiritual journey of society and her place in it and how to be a better person. She feels like she's downgraded and downsized. I mean, but to plebes like us, it's still pretty spectacular. So, I mean, it was fun to kind of suss out conceptually what that meant visually. And we kind of went with less sparkle, less glitz and glamour, all natural materials, earth tones. The palette was very subdued, nothing too dramatic. She always is the one that pops on the set. So we're kind of like a platter on which she can shine. And I like that how much her energy and her personality show in her clothing and what she wears and her fashion. But the idea was to make it kind of like a serene spa-like retreat where she can push out all the noise of society and the world and her divorce and her ex and all these things and try and focus on her goals. It's just that, her spa-like retreat is different than ours,
Certainly. So
Yeah.
in that first episode, there's the cold open of the season is this 73 questions where she's looking at her beach cabana, and it's just an
Yeah.
incredible house. And I guess
It's insane.
so with that, I guess I was thinking with the process of that, I'm assuming that's written in the scripts, and then do you have to how much of it is, how does that collaboration work? Are you trying to match what they're writing, or are they just it's a giant mansion that's somewhat smaller than her previous mansion, and then you have to kind of figure it out?
I mean, it's a real collaboration. I think it's a mix of both because Alan Yang and Matt Hubbard, the writers, creators, showrunners, they have a very clear idea of where they want Molly's character to go in the overall story, like her total character arc. But we kind of find it together in ways. So we knew that we wanted it to be smaller than the kind of perched on the hilltop, Beverly Hills, secluded, the one kind of mega mansion. But it still had to be in Molly's world, a downgrade. But Molly's world is different than ours. So it was a lot of conversation about what that meant and how to show her evolution and her change. And so that was more with the textures and the palette and the location. We did want it to be by the ocean. So whether it was overlooking the ocean or right at the ocean, we knew that we didn't want her kind of in the height of Bel Air anymore. But Matt and Alan have a pretty strong character developed, and Maya has a lot to say. So I think it's just a group project, which is what film is all over. I mean, in every department, top down from start to finish, which is why it's fun.
And then with that, and that for her house, for the new house, then
Yeah.
how much of that did you build versus how much was existing, I guess, that you found?
So we did find the house in Malibu, and the exteriors are all real. The internal kind of garden right inside the front door, we certainly zhuzhed that up. We put in a lot of plants and pathway, and we dressed the inside, but the structure of what's seen in the cold open, as the exterior, the entryway, the kitchen where she finds David Chang, that all exists on location. What we built on stage was her kind of grand living room, dining room, kitchen with the spiral stairs that go up, and her dressing room, which we wanted to mirror season 1, where she has a private space and a public space, where she has the ability to entertain and have people over, but she also has the ability to kind of like be on her own and show her true colors, say with Nicholas or her stylists. And it worked out really well in season 1. I think the guys and the writers liked the options they had for staging scenes and moments. So we just did that again. We did the same thing again, where we did the kitchen, living room, dining room. That's her personal space, but where she can entertain. And then the dressing room, which is more private. So those are all built on stage. We also built, bathrooms and panic rooms and spa rooms and all of that stuff throughout the season to kind of like grow the house. But we only shot in Malibu, I think it was 4 days maybe in the beginning of the season. So
Wow.
it's mostly in the first episode where you see the location house.
I'm glad you mentioned the panic room. I love that. I think that's in episode 3 with the smoke detector, and she gets
Yeah.
trapped in the panic room.
Yeah. So
That
all of
whole
that we built, everything,
okay.
pretty much everything everything I believe in episode 3 we built on stage.
And so I guess like how long in advance do you get the scripts before you have to start building, or like kind of like how? I mean, I imagine it's probably pretty fast paced.
It's pretty fast. I think the best part about not the best part, but one of the really good things, there's a lot of good things, but one of the good things about working with Alan and Matt is that they do have the concept. They do have the character arc. And I think I found it really hard when I started doing TV after doing so many years of film. I started in film, and for over a decade, I don't think I did any television, besides maybe a pilot. Um, and I found it really hard to know how to design when I didn't know where the story and the characters were going, because I wanted to like set us up for success in that end. And in film, you have that. You have the script, and even though things might change, you still can kind of create an arc for the color and the palette and the mood and the lighting and all of these things to help kind of develop the characters in the story. And that really helps with Matt and Ellen, because they have most of the scripts. Even if they don't have the scripts, they have a lot of outlines and breakdowns, and they definitely know where they want it to the end goal to be for the season. So that actually helped a lot. That helps a lot.
Yeah. Do you have another place I wanted to ask you about was the hotel, that the space for everyone that they're
Oh
building?
yeah.
Just fantastic look. It looks so great, and I love it's just like really great. And I guess again, was that did you how much of that is built versus how much of that you're finding and then amplifying also?
Um, the space for everyone. I'm trying not to give any spoilers because I know they haven't all aired yet. This is the part where where they first find it and it's
Yes,
run down
we
and
can
they
stick with
decide to
that.
fix it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Um, which OT is so fun in. He's so
Great.
fun.
He's so great.
That's an actual building. Was it in downtown or Koreatown? I can't remember. Throughout the season, we used a couple different spaces. But that one is a functioning building, and we brought in scaffolding and we kind of draped the walls and the chandeliers and put in, laid our own kind of surface of a wall over top with peeling paint and things like this. So we certainly amend it quite a bit.
And when you're looking for a place, like how do you like land again? We don't need not to spoil like anything, but like how do you land on like that as the like why did that stand out to you, I guess, or that venue as like the right spot for this?
I think it was good in a lot of ways. It was good because there was the space for us to shoot this kind of long walk and talk, which was a goal to kind of display it all properly and not have it be choppy. It's also a historic building, actually. So the guys ended up writing in specifics to the script. I think it's a lot of the things that OT's character says in the end, about the leaded glass and the history of the building and the architecture and the style. So that was nice because it was a truly historic LA building, and we could kind of do research on it. And then I would kind of lay out the aspects of the design and the architecture of the building to the guys, and then they would write it into the script. But also it was a blank enough canvas that whether we ended up at this point, I don't think we knew where we were going to end up doing the finished space for everyone. It was a blank enough canvas, and we were altering it enough that it still gave us options. So we weren't locked into going back to this location or building exactly the way this looked. We could kind of find what we wanted. It gave us more time basically to find what we wanted for the finished space.
You mentioned how you started in film and worked on some really great films, obviously, like before this, and also done some TV. And this is like, I understand what you're saying, certainly about like knowing where a character is going to end up. It makes it so much easier. But is there a big difference for you between like, I don't even know, not necessarily resources or anything, but like, I guess, how do you view the difference between film and TV? Or is it now like, especially having worked on this, maybe there's not as much of a difference?
I don't think there's as much of a difference anymore. I
Yeah.
think there used to be probably, and there was certainly a difference in attitude, and approach to it, approach to how you did TV. But the goal of this is in the end a half-hour comedy, and we got to build these spectacular sets. I mean, and create a whole world that's super luxe. And I don't think you could ever do that in TV, 15 years ago. The approach is extremely cinematic.
Yeah.
And I think top down from the showrunners and creators to, the directors that come in for episodic blocks and all of the department heads and the crew underneath, everyone has a cinematic view of it. So I don't know that there's terribly much difference anymore other than just the structure of the production schedule.
Right. It does look really, I think cinematic is right word. It is a very cinematic, like you said, it's a 30-minute comedy. It is very
Yeah.
cinematic, and it's like
Yeah.
the way it's shot and everything is like really creative. Other like location I want to ask you about, or the set was the meditation retreat. I just love, and I love
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That looks so great. And again, like really cool and perfect for this world, obviously, like you said, of like this kind of like very, we're like the plebes compared to this world that we're not
Yeah.
in. But like, I guess like how, yeah, like what went into that one, and like
I
how'd you
did a
kind of
lot there, I have to say.
okay,
That is an amazing space. It is an
yeah,
amazing space. But Kevin Bray was the director on that. And he's just like one of the ADs explained it. He described him, and I just stuck to my head the whole time. It's stuck in my head. And I think it's perfect that he's like a jazz musician of film, because he kind of comes into a space and he's talking and he's looking around and he's changing his mind, and you're not really sure like what to grab onto from what he's saying in the beginning. And it also evolves. Like he'll call you and be like, well, I was thinking about this, and forget everything I said before. Maybe we'll shoot it from the opposite angle. And you're like, whoa, and you're trying to realign all your thoughts. But that was a real collaboration. And I actually talked to him after it aired because I was so happy with how it turned out. And we were kind of like jazzed about each other. We did a lot in that space. What we liked about it, what existed, was that main window with the design in it. The rest of the space we didn't feel like worked at all. But you can't only look in one direction, obviously. We had to see, I believe it's like almost, yeah, we saw 4 ways. We saw 4 directions in that. So we ended up kind of creating these wooden framed fabric panels that we staggered on the side that, Benjamin Bratt enters through. So we had multiple places where people could enter and exit, and where the camera could move through and see around and pass by. We did a lot there. We covered all the floor. We added all the shrubbery on the outside with the lights. We added a lot of sculptures, and yeah, that was a really, really fun one.
it looks so great. And again, I guess from a viewing standpoint, it just feels like, I don't know, like you never would know that all that went in. Like, I guess, is the goal to be like as invisible as possible with some of the
Yes,
stuff,
that's
basically?
actually what we said on the phone. When we talked on the phone, he was like, I don't think anyone will know it wasn't like that. And I said, I don't either, which kind of annoys me, but also it's perfect.
Yeah, right. It is right.
No,
You don't
that's
want
the
to.
goal.
It's like,
That's the goal.
yeah. Do you have, I guess, like just in general, like we said, no spoilers, but I guess in general, how where the rest of the season goes and stuff. As I guess how, like, what are you excited for people to see, or kind of like, what would you tease for people who have not seen the rest of the season yet?
I mean, there's so much. There's so much, but really the finale takes my heart.
Yeah.
It's really good. And it's beautiful, and it's funny, and it's fun and ridiculous, but also relatable and logistically, which isn't on film, which doesn't mean anyone will know it, but When the strike happened, we were about to film kind of like the climactic scene. And I think it was day 2 maybe, or day 3, I don't remember now, of the strike, when we shut down. And it was so heartbreaking because we had done so much to prep this space. We had done a lot of building and installation, and there was this massive lighting rig that was kind of constructed on location, and it was just so exciting to put together. And when we got shut down, we didn't really know if we were going to be able to ever even go back there and do it the way we had envisioned it. But our location manager, Jordana Cronin, she did an amazing job when we came back, I don't know, 6 months later, to film these last 8 days of the whole season. She got all of our locations back, but that one was really just kind of like icing on the cake because we knew exactly what we wanted to do. We were prepped. We were ready to go. We had even had like a dress rehearsal, and we could just go in and do it. It was just fun to shoot it.
Yeah, that's so great. I'm excited for people to see that episode
It's
as
it's
well.
really,
It's
I'm
really good.
thrilled.
And
I can't
you
wait.
mentioned like how they've like kind of planned it. Obviously, we don't know if the show will come back for a third season, but have you already thought about like third season stuff already? And you guys talked about
Everything.
it. Okay.
I've thought about everything, and I mean, there, yeah, fingers crossed,
Okay.
because it's a
Fingers
really
crossed.
fun show to work on. Yeah.
It is, and I think you can tell it just by talking to you. You're enjoying it so much, and it is a great show. Jennifer Dehghan, production designer for Loot season 2. You can watch episodes now, and definitely stick through to the finale because, like we're saying, it is pretty great. But thank you so
Thank
much,
you for
Jennifer.
having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it too. Thank you.